All right. Hello and welcome to the Oasis 13. I am the host, Imani. Thank you for joining and thank you for listening. So I have two guests up here with me today. I have Danesha and Larry. Hey guys.
How you feel?
So I have them up here today to talk about the relationship between the black man and the black woman. All right, cause we gotta talk about it.
All right. It seems like it's complicated.
It is complicated, and I want to know, where do you think it stems from? Where do you think the miscommunication and the disrespect, where do you think it stems from?
Well, I think that the disrespect starts at home. I'll just keep it simple. I mean, I could go all the way back until it started, when we was brought over here on the slave ships. But I think that I would say that it started at home. As children, we watched our, parents and their relationship. So, the first person that we came into contact in this world is our mother. So we looked at her reactions. We looked at her, her emotions, her mental state, her emotional state, and everything. And we looked at those interactions that she had with other males in her life. And so some of those relationships could have been positive and some of those could have been negative. And, growing up in a two-parent household, it had its pros and cons. My parents were together for, I'll say, like 30 plus years. They were never married, but they were together. And it was it was a lot of turmoil, I would say. We had our good days, we had our bad days, but, watching my parents argue, watching my mom cry, listening to their arguments, it created a lot of trauma for me. And so, like, as I get older and, coming into my own individuality and, assessing my relationships, I've learned that I have a lot of trauma and I've been attracted to trauma-filled relationships because that is familiar. And that is that's something that I recently have discovered in the past year. And so I just think that that's very interesting to see. So, I don't want to take up like all the talk time. It does stem from, I had to go within myself.
Right.
And realize that. So
right.
I had to separate myself from some relationships and understand, why do I keep feeling like this? Why do I keep going through this? Why does it keep happening to me? And then all the way back to childhood and then back to, current situations and analyzing. So, yeah, I think that's where it started for me.
Go ahead.
So you're talking about the disrespect, like as a society, like between black women, between us, counterparts.
Right. Between us. Yeah.
So I would agree that I think we can always say, it started when we first were brought over here.
Right.
But I would definitely say the same, because I feel like if we're in the same household, we can't deny how powerful learned behavior is, and whether or not it's specifically taught or it's indirectly taught, because we're going to pick up something whether or not our like she said, like Danesha said, the facial expressions, whether or not our mom makes a facial expression or does not make a facial expression, or when our parents are mad at each other, because I grew up in a two-parent household as well, and my mom, I never seen my dad put his hands on my mom, so that's not even, as far as disrespect, that thought or that image is not even in my head, putting my hands on, when I have a wife. So I would definitely say it's in the household, and I will also say, and I think Danesha on this part as well, that when you go through different things throughout your life, it can create like the fact that you were disrespected or you felt as though you were disrespected could make you in turn disrespectful towards other people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to take up any much of the time too, but in the research articles that you had sent us, that's a lot of what I was seeing as well. But I'm sure we'll get to that. But yeah, that's the answer to my question where I think it came from. I think it's learned behavior, and I think also from that learned behavior we get we get more angry and more animosity towards what
Right.
happens to us.
Right.
Right.
So first, you just say you understand, Danesha?
Yes, I said I agree with that.
Yeah. So first, before I talk about the articles that I sent y'all, I do want to address, because Danesha, you said, I think a lot of times what's crazy is that we do end up getting into relationships that are similar to whatever trauma that we're used to, because again, that's just something that you're used to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if like it's just common to you, so it's not like you have to learn anything new. Like they say, I think it was something that I saw that like women it was weird for them to be with like a man who was good to them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, what is this? You know, if
Right.
you're used to something else.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, and I think we see that a lot in the on the side of women.
Yeah, I think it's interesting though. What made you come up with what you came up with?
With the podcast or just this topic?
This topic.
I feel like we're getting into like healing ourselves and looking into I feel like everybody is just finding out more information and wanting to be, you know, black and proud and all of that. And that comes with us also healing like our relationships. That's a big part of community in general. So
Right.
we got to get that part right, because it's a lot that we got to deal with the black man and woman relationship, because it's a lot of disrespect, it's a lot of misunderstanding, it's a lot of stuff just from the past, and we gotta talk about it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that is definitely true. We have a lot of work to do. I think this is the movement that's happening is only the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the surface level. And like you said, Imani, I just feel like it's a lot of work that we have to do, like as individuals. And once we
Mm-hmm.
do that work as individuals, then we can work on those partnerships. Then we can work
Mm-hmm.
on those community issues, and then we can work on the societal issues. So it's
Right.
a long time coming.
Right. Larry, you brought up the article. So what Larry is talking about, I sent him and Danesha articles to talk about the discussion. So I sent them, there was recent, um, what's the word? There was a recent incident with,
Accusations and stuff.
right. There was a recent incident with Gayle King and Snoop Dogg. And also 50 Cent was involved in this. And with this incident, Gayle King was asking, what's the female basketball player name? Do y'all know her name?
Lisa Leslie.
Yeah, Lisa Leslie. She was asking Lisa Leslie about Kobe Bryant's past accusation of the rape. And this was obviously after Kobe Bryant passed. And so Snoop Dogg got mad and he addressed Gayle King on video, and he was calling her bitch and saying she was wrong for doing that, for trying to tarnish his name. And also the situation with Oprah calling out all of these black men for sexual assault. However, she doesn't seem to be recognizing white men who apparently do the same thing, you know. So on both sides, both sides feel disrespected. You know, like the men feel disrespected because they feel like the women are not holding accountable what the white men, and then the women feel disrespected because in that video Snoop Dogg was disrespectful, and after the fact he did apologize to Gayle King for calling her a bitch. So do y'all have anything to say about those specific situations, or do y'all understand both sides, or neither at all? What do you think about those situations?
I'll let Larry go first since I answered first the last time.
Okay.
I think so. Speaking about the first one, the Snoop Dogg and Gayle King incident, I did some research when he first did that. I saw it, and then actually today I saw his Red Table Talk with Jada
With
Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, yeah, and then so that to me I felt was a 360 or a 180, I guess you could say. I think it was a black man noticing his fault. He himself said that the his words were what did he say? He said it was the way that he delivered it.
Right,
It was the way
right.
that he delivered it. And he said
Like he
even
still
his
knew
brother.
it. He still had the same message, but he just didn't want it to deliver it in that way.
Right. He didn't want to call her out her name. He said that he was just acting out of anger and so forth.
Right.
And I think that him coming out and saying that, I think that clears the air a little bit, and I think that's the example of leadership that we need. As far as her doing it in general, and Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent feeling as though black men are attacked. I honestly, as a black man, I can see how they can say that they feel as though they're being disrespected, and that's why I said what I said when we first got up here. So if the black men think if we feel as though we're being disrespected, although it may not be that way, I'm not. Yeah, that's another conversation. But if I'm sitting in front of a TV screen and I hear about how R. Kelly is getting a documentary and now Russell Simmons is getting a documentary, but all
Right.
these other white men that are doing the same thing, or if not worse, where is their documentary? So I can see how he takes to social media, and not just him, but all our black brothers that are taking to social media, like, how come you calling her out of her name? No, that should not happen. But again, I can see how we feel disrespected, especially when it's our faces that are now the face of rape allegations and abuse and all of that. Hopefully that was full circle and that made sense.
No, yeah, I got what you're saying. Danesha, did you want to add on?
Yes. So I think that, I actually wrote down the quote that Snoop Dogg had said. And, he said, "We expect more from you. Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after Harvey Weinstein with those dumb questions. I get sick of y'all. How dare you tarnish my homeboy's reputation?" And so in his quote, he's just like, y'all. So number one, who's y'all? So is he speaking for like all black women, or is it for like CBS?
Or the media personality in general, yeah.
Right. So who is y'all? And so it's just kind of like, I understand that Gayle, she's doing her job, as a TV show host. But at the same time, I think that we have to respect her position of where she's at. But we also understand where Snoop is coming from. It's just kind of like, okay, you're black too. You understand our struggle. You understand what's going on in the black community. So why get on public television and try to out, one of us? So I hear his frustrations and I get that. But I think that the issue at hand, and also I'm glad that he did apologize for his comments. So, you know, that shows character, that shows that he's able to be a bigger person, but at the same time, as a celebrity, who's not? I mean, there's a lot of celebrities that say horrible stuff and then they come back with an apology. That's because people, you know, are like, oh no, you ain't gonna talk to such and such like that. And if you do, you're gonna lose your endorsements, you're gonna lose money. And they just like, oh no, I can't do that, so let me apologize. But thankfully, apologize. But I think the issue at hand here with this story is it is not, I will say it's not like unusual for Black men to call Black women or women in general, but specifically keeping the topic at hand, Black women out of their name. So for him to call her the B word and curse her out, I mean, if you look at the songs, that's what y'all do. I mean, I don't want to say y'all, but Black men, but you know, that's what they do. So, I mean, I think that's the issue that needs to be addressed. That's the deeper issue. So why is it okay for these rappers to rap about be this, you know, ho this, you know?
And Danesha, and it's not right. It's not right. We also got to look at ourselves too, because I don't understand the argument. Okay, so if we don't want men to call us that, then should we be calling ourselves that either?
No, we shouldn't. But I just feel like, you know, that's on an individual basis. I don't refer to myself as, you know, a B word. I don't refer to myself as, you know, a hoe or anything like that, because those are derogatory terms. And I'm a firm believer of, you know, life or death is in the power of the tongue. So whatever you say you are, that's what you are. And so I disagree with that. I don't think that we should do that.
Right.
When it comes to addressing society as a whole, I think that that's a slippery slope, because, you know, not everybody is going to have like the same respect level for themselves. But that's just my opinion. But far as what 50 Cent had said, I don't understand why Oprah is going after Black men. You know, no Harvey Weinstein, no, is it Epstein? Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Just Michael Jackson and Russell Simmons. And I don't think that, well, in the article, she had also acknowledged Bill O'Reilly when she had that interview with Gwyneth Paltrow. So she says it had been coming for Bill Cosby and nothing happened. It had been coming for Bill O'Reilly, even with the president of the United States, where people can hear Access Hollywood tape and yet nothing happens. So I don't think that she specifically, you know, it called out just the Black man. I think that she called out a lot of other people too, but I don't know. I mean, as a Black woman, am I not supposed to make Black men accountable for their actions as well? I mean, am I supposed to just sweep that under the rug and pretend it doesn't happen?
Right.
And see, that's what I don't want to happen, because then I just feel like at that point we're not being men, and you're not being, as Black women, you're not rising to be who you guys should be, which is, like you said, holding us accountable. I think it's just the way that the accountability is held, because it seems like she's making, like, okay, she mentions other people, but she puts all her energy and her time and her money into the Black men, and that's just what I see. You had made another comment, I can't remember, but yeah, that's just what I see. But I definitely get what you. Oh, the music, yes, the music, and how we spew out not racial, but derogatory terms towards you all. I definitely agree that that is a whole system or culture in itself that heavily influenced the way that we treat our women and the way that you guys treat us. But I do think if you all want to call yourselves the B word and all of that, you know what y'all do, then I feel like y'all should have the right to do that. Am I right or am I like you said, you wouldn't do it, but I feel as though if black women want to call themselves that, that should only be between black women. I don't think
So
the
that's like
president
the
or
same
should right to be
argument
able to
of
say it.
the word nigga.
Nigga. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So I feel as though when a word is reserved for a people or between two people, then that's between those two people, and those two people determine how they take it and respond to it. But if you're not a part of the clique, you're not a part of the club.
Right.
How dare you call me out of my name? Like, we don't know each other like that. It's like, somebody call you by your nickname. It's like, where did you learn my nickname from?
Right.
So yeah, but I definitely agree with that. The music definitely has an impact. Because I could see them saying, you guys do it, so you guys call them that, so why can't we call them that? But if a man says, like, I can hear my fella saying, well, if she won't never acting like that, then we wouldn't call her that.
It's got to be another. That is not an excuse. That is not an excuse.
No.
It's got to be another way that we deal with each other. It doesn't have to go to,
going forward.
Right. It doesn't have to go to you calling somebody out of their names. And this comes to communication between us, between the man and the woman. Like, again, like you said, if that's your relationship and in your specific relationship, y'all are good with that, then that's on you, but like as a general, women that you don't know, that's not, yeah.
And so I'll say this. I mean, to address like that issue of, like the disrespect in the Black community, I really feel like we have to rise as a community on the issue.
Right.
And I think that in order to do that, we have to go to the main source, which is the media platform. And I mean all media platforms, whether this is TV, whether it's music, whether it's, anything else. Well, that's the only two things I can think of right now. That's big. Also social media.
Right.
So people that are in that position to, be center stage, I feel like they have to set the tone. They have to speak up. So until our rappers, stop calling us the B words and disrespecting us, until they stop displaying disrespect on TV shows, until they stop exploiting Black women, and all women, I will say, on social media, then that will change the tone of how women are treated. Right. Until we change that, nothing is going to change.
Right. And it's really a part of like y'all said, what's a part of our culture? A part of our culture. So now we see it's becoming cool to, support Black business. It's becoming cool to call your woman a queen, to call your man a king. It's becoming cool to do all those things. So that's going to start becoming a part of our culture. And maybe that'll weed out, the old stuff that we had,
But I will say that there was a post in the Washington Post, like the article that you sent us. And the title was "Where Are Black Men in the Fight for Black Women?" Right. And there was a quote from Malcolm X that said, "The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman." And it said the Black man should be willing to lay down his life to support and protect her. Right. I don't feel like we're there. I don't know if they was there. I mean, were they there in Malcolm X's time? Like, was that happening? Right. And if it wasn't, then why? And when was it happening? And, let's locate that, that time period in history and research so we can get that back.
So how does that look?
Okay, I got a situation. Like, so I was listening to Charlemagne the other day, and they brought up this incident that happened, and some young man hit a young woman in the face with a skateboard, and his friends were around him. And instead of the other men, coming up to him like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't do that. You don't treat women like that. They laughing. They are laughing. So that's a situation. And when, like, why is that happening? Why are these men not looking out for the women? Like, the protection, it's not there. Like, I don't know. We need some type of systems where women can feel protected again,
I agree
I
with that.
understand that. I definitely understand. We can even talk about how our Breonna Taylor's murderers arrested yet?
I think
Do we have
one
that?
was.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems as though it takes a longer time for
Right.
justice to come on the behalf of Black women, but for Black men, it's
Right.
rallies, that protests. We burn cities down for it. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely I see it. And I think I'm thankful for this conversation because it's opening up my eyes to how we can do better as men.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you just think about I just feel like the issue is just so complex. Just
Yeah.
thinking about the dynamic between the Black man and the Black woman. And I really feel like the brokenness of our relationships, I feel like it does start in that slavery time period because we went through so much trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we have addressed that trauma. I feel like it's just
Mm-hmm.
been carried over from generation to generation to generation. And it's gotten to the point where we don't even know where to start
Right.
because, the woman is the centerpiece of the home.
Yep.
Everybody
Right.
comes from that woman,
Right.
Yep.
I mean, if it wasn't for her, then no one would be. And so if that's the case, then why is she so undervalued?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have like some type of blame game going on for the Black woman? Do we have some type of hatred? Do we have some type of animosity within our own community against Black women? I know that there has been issues with, Black women being very catty with other Black women and
Mm-hmm.
not being there as a support. And then you have like that dynamic of the Black men just leaving and going to other races because they don't want to deal with our attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that it's very complex, and it's just kind of like, where do we start? And I really feel like it starts, for me, it would start like with myself first, addressing my
Right.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
And when I am in a successful relationship, he would have to have awareness as well, and we can
Right.
work on that dynamic together. And from there, once we build a solid relationship and develop an understanding, then we can help others. I really feel like that's how it starts.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's so complicated and complex, and there's so many more conversations to be had, but we do need to start somewhere. So I'm glad that I have you guys to provide input. And yeah, like you said, Danesha, we got to start with ourselves first before anything. We have to start with ourselves and realize what we can do to fix ourselves. And then once we get into a relationship, we'll know what our triggers are, or we'll know where we need love most, to be able to communicate with that person. So,
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it's a healing process. I think with
mm-hmm.
conversations like this, they facilitate healing strategies, and they cultivate bonds that I think that we need, bonds that we need to be healed. But going back, I do think it started when we first got over here. I think the discriminatory and racist rules and policies, down to the Jim Crow laws, up to the public housing laws, and like
Mm-hmm.
breaking up the family, everything.
Right.
How the man couldn't be in the house, and if the
Right.
man was in the house, then you'll get kicked out of the house. Like
Right.
all of that made the woman become the centerpiece and kicked the man out so the man couldn't be a father to his kids. So generation after generation of fathers not knowing how to be fathers, and sons not knowing how to be sons, and fathers and men not knowing how to be husbands. What do you get? You get the white man sitting back laughing because the laws that were created are impacting us. So I think it's still happening now to this day.
Right.
It's just not as in our face. But yeah, I think we will have to break apart, and I think these conversations are needed. Not saying that we need to be throwing blame towards each other, but like you said, how can we move on from this, and what can we do individually to start, that healing process? I know for me, when I got a black girlfriend, I treat her like a queen, and that's all I'm doing. I'm not switching races because I don't feel as though there is another race that can communicate or empathize with what I feel as a black man in
Right.
America. So I'll end on that point. But again, thank you both as black women. Thank you. You're hearing this from a black man. Thank you for investing your time and your energy and your gifts into making America and the world a safer place for the both of us.
Thank you for that, Larry.
Right. Thank you.
We appreciate it and acknowledge. There are still black men that will, give us the props and appreciate us. But I think that when I don't know, is it more so like if you think about inner cities, you think about poverty-stricken areas, I will say, that don't have a lot of exposure to, I will just say, different ways of thinking maybe, or different educational pursuits. I mean, would that have an impact on how they view us as a people and how they treat each other?
Yes, you're talking about you're speaking
like
of
Section
other
8?
black people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Most definitely. Yes.
Well, I'm not sure if I understand your question. Are you talking about black, more privileged black people looking at other black people who are on Section 8? Is that what you're saying?
I will say that, but I guess what I'm saying is we all went to Norfolk State at a point in time. Okay. Right. So it's just kind of like we had the opportunity to advance in our educations. And so that gave us exposure to different ways of thinking. It gave us exposure to knowledge. And I know that sometimes it doesn't take like a college education to have that exposure. It just depends on, who you know. But I will say that in the majority of the times, having higher education, you do get that exposure and you do get certain opportunities, to come into awareness, and versus people that don't get that opportunity. And they're just kind of like stuck in a certain situation and stuck in a certain mindset. And it's just kind of like that cycle, it just becomes perpetual. And, I'm just starting to see that, us, the ones that do have the awareness and we do have that knowledge, I feel like it then becomes our duty to
Exactly.
back and educate those who don't know about, our internal issues and how to fix them.
Certainly.
Go ahead, Larry. That's all you want to say?
Yeah, because I was watching the time. It was getting towards 4 and he didn't want to cut off on me. So
go ahead. We got a few minutes left. Go ahead.
Oh wow.
No, I'm gonna just let her finish. I mean, I forgot what I was going with now, but you can go ahead and pick it back up. I'm so sorry.
All right. Yeah. So so I think it is our duty that if we are given that chance to get out and see another perspective, it is our duty to show that, because again, it's so beneficial for children to see people who look like them do do everything, do whatever they want to do, you know, and they don't know that they can do it if they don't see it. So
Right.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
our duty, all of our duties, that whatever we're doing, pursuing our passions, you know, um, traveling, writing, speaking, in the medical field, whatever that you do that you really love and that you're passionate about, it's your duty to show people that they can do that too, you know?
Right. Because and I know for me, a lot of things that I do, I would have never did unless I saw another Black person doing it, or at least letting me know that it's an option for me. Like when we do, like when we go to high schools and we do college fairs and whatnot, like a lot of those kids, they don't even think college is real to them until they
Right.
see another Black person walk through that door. You know, with locks, or you know how Black women with their natural hairstyle, something that relates to them. It's like, okay, maybe I can go on to graduate and become a doctor, although I grew up in a single parent household and my mom was
Mhm.
abused and so forth and so on.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
exposure is definitely key.
right. And again, I want to thank y'all for this, and I just want to end the conversation by saying these conversations are so good. And again, let's continue to work on ourselves so that when we have families, we don't have as much things that we have to work on, or our children don't have as many things that they have to work through, because as a unit or ourselves, and then once we get our unit, you know, we teach them the best that we can, and it's not too much that they have to work through. So thank you guys.
Thank you,
Honey.
the Oasis.
The Oasis 13, I love it. And thank you, Imani, for, having me on here, and, having Larry, and most importantly, for starting the podcast. So I feel like, that is you doing your due diligence. That is you giving back and sharing your knowledge. So thank you for providing the platform.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Love you too, honey.
Yeah.
All
Meanwhile,
right.
I just looked Danesha up. I just looked Danesha up on Facebook. I do know
Oh,
who you
wait.
are.
I know you know me.
Hello.
Oh, wait.
But yeah, definitely, Imani. Thank you so much, and Danesha, nice talking to you again.
Nice
All
talking
right,
to you as
guys.
well. All righty. Bye.
See
Peace.
you later.
Peace.